Hi Flosstube, this is Amy, also known as Aussie Stitcher in Texas, here on Flosstube and over on Instagram. I'm here with you today to give my November update, just one day late. It is December 2nd, and this is Flosstube number 31. Before I get started, I just want to give a big thank you to all of my returning viewers and subscribers. Thank you so much for continuing to come back to watch. And if you are new here, I hope you find something that you like. If you could hit that like and subscribe button if you want to, that would be fantastic. Thank you so much. First off, I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving if you celebrate. I was able to get up and visit some family in the Northeast, which was a really nice time. It is cold up there, but you know, we'd spent a lot of time inside, as you do in that part of the world this time of the year. So let's jump into it. This is everything that I stitched on in the month of November. I stitched on, I think it was 9 projects in total, and I did 15,314 stitches that I was able to count. I have 1 finish and 1 new start. So let's jump right into the finish. So I finished the Sew to Stitch Halloween Girl. Here is what it looked like the last time that you saw it. This is stitched on a 32 count linen in the color, what is this? Chloris by Under the Sea Fabrics. It is an opalescent fabric. And here she is. So all done, all back stitching done. Give you a little bit of a close-up. You can't really see the little spider web here, but it kind of gives the illusion of it, which I kind of like, considering spider webs aren't always obvious anyway, as I know as I've walked through my fair share. But I still have a lot of this fabric left, which is great. Although, if anyone has any tips on ironing, I did iron this. It doesn't look like it, but I did. Because I don't want to put any like spray or anything on it. So if anyone's got any good tips on being able to get this nice and ironed, that would be great. So that is another finish for 2024. I'll put that over there. Next up, let's jump into my new start. So I finished 1 Sew to Stitch and started another, and that is the Ice Cream Shop by Sew to Stitch. I don't have the mock-up of what it will look like, so I'll just throw up an image so you can see. I am stitching this on a 40 count Verdal. It was in the color Sand Dollar, but I dyed it like a tan just to make it easier because there's a lot of white in these patterns. And it's just easier to see if it's not on a basically white fabric. I got just over 1,000 stitches on this one, and this is what we're up to. As you can see, a lot of white. What I do try to do with these ones as I go, because there is so much white, is I'll try to do like a length of white and then a length of a different color, a length of white, a length of a different color. So I can kind of plug through the white, but then, you know, mix it up with some colors to, you know, make it a little bit more interesting. And then I also try to backstitch as I go, because Sew to Stitch patterns have so much backstitch. That's where we're at with this one. It's a terrible dye job, but that's okay. This is pretty much full coverage, so I'm not too worried about it. I just wanted it to not be a white fabric to help me, just to make my life a little bit easier when it comes to the stitching. Let's jump into my whips now, and in particular, we'll start with the Whip Go pieces, one of which I have left on the other side of the room, so I'm gonna go pick that up and then come right back. Okay, I am back. So first off, let's work with Whip Go Call. This was number 14, and this is Autumn by Alexandra V Bach, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. I am stitching this 1/1 full cross on a 25 count easy guide. I had to do 1,000 stitches, and I did 1,000 stitches. So here is where we're at. I forgot to take a photo of where it was the last time, so I don't have that, but I think around here. And I have actually done more than 1,000 stitches because this is really just all background. My plan was to, if I do work on it during the month for, let's say, 100 stitches, and you're just getting kind of like another block of this, or 200 stitches, I'm not going to show it in my update video. So this has had more than 1,000 stitches of work, and I have, which I can now see in the photo, this where it's a light gray is supposed to be a dark gray, but I had pulled the thread for the wrong color and didn't notice it till I was done, and I thought, I am not unpicking 25 count 1/1. It's not as noticeable in person, and I'm hoping once more gets in, it'll be even less noticeable. but I'm torn with this one because I am all in background. It's boring. It's boring. Obviously, you know, it's just backgrounds and not even exciting colors of background. So I don't know if I keep plugging away at this, just kind of maybe throw in 200 stitches here and there to hopefully get through. I'm leaving it in the Q-snap because this is so much fabric. It was a bear to get in there. So I'm just kind of going to keep stitching really in this whole area if I do keep stitching on this, and only move it when I have to. I'm not going to take it in and out. It's not covering any stitching at the moment, so it's not damaging anything, and I release the tension when I'm not working on it, so, which I'll do now. But that, it was Whip Go Call number 1. Next up was Whip Go Call number 16, and this is Celebrate Summer by Madame Chantilly. My call was to just work on a Madame Chantilly. I only have one on the go now, and that is this one. I'll throw up a photo of what it looks like the last time that you saw it. I am stitching this on a 40 count Verdal in the color April Showers, and I'm using all the called for DMC colors. Some are CXC threads though. And here's where we're at. So I have completely finished the first 2 trays. I believe so. There might be some stuff over here. So I might have to take back my completely finished first. That's, yes. So I have not completely finished the first 2 trays. No, I have. Oh, look at me. I was looking on the wrong side. So yes, first 2 trays are finished, backstitch and all. I put the backstitch into the lettering. And I love working on these trays. They are a lot of stitching. This was 1,617 stitches. I only needed to do 1,000, but I wanted to finish off the tray. So now I have 1 more tray to go down here, and then the words. So, and there is a little bit below the bottom tray that hangs. So this is getting some good progress, which I am happy with. And I know some of the colors aren't showing up great on camera on this fabric, but they show up pretty well in person. So I'm fine with it. And let's put these away as we go. Otherwise it's a big mess. Okay, next up is my alternative reality. If you've been here for a while, you know I work on this every month for a minimum of 2,000 stitches with the hope of having it completed in 5 years. Here is what it will look like when it's finished. I'll throw up a photo of what it looks like the last time that you saw it. I did 2,001 stitches on this, and I'm stitching this on an 18 count Aida, 1/1 full cross. And here is where we are at. I'm going to kind of move back for this one. So she is coming along beautifully. I now have both of her faces fully done, which I think I did last month, but over here, this was a lot of, it's always a lot of block color on this side, which is nice, mix up from the confetti, and then came across and finished off this archway on this side. And I am loving this piece, even though the confetti is killer sometimes. I'm doing this in the Royal Rose in like a typewriter method. So I go all the way across and then come back, all the way across and come back. I am trying to leave no ninja stitches unless it is like the end of my rotation on it. And it's like this, maybe there's one, so you can see here, there's a couple there. That's because in the next column, there'll be more of that color. And I just don't want to start and have a thread hanging to complete 2 or 3 stitches when I'm coming back to it next month to complete it off. So that is my alternative reality. Not my biggest piece. The other Heaven and Earth Designs is bigger as far as stitch count goes, but it is by far the one I am enjoying the most from there. And I am happy to say I am 1/3 of the way through that piece now. I'm at 34.5%, so it is 1/3 complete. 2/3 to go. Next up, what did I work on? So I worked on my Hyberborea by Owl Forest Embroidery. Here's what it will look like when it's finished. This is a kit, so I'm using all the kit fabric and all the kit floss, which is variegated. I'll throw up a photo of what it looked like the last time that you saw it. It is another long, this is a skinny piece, so it's a little bit harder to wrangle this fabric. It is 32 count murano. I can't remember the color, But here's where we're at. I worked on the links and in that section. And this thread is fantastic to work with. I'm not always a huge fan of variegated just because sometimes I just don't like how it flows, but I am enjoying this very much. So that is the owl all done. I think the center section is pretty much done. And then I'm coming over here to be able to kind of finish off this section, and then I'll move over to the other side when it's time. But that is Hyberborea by Owl Forest Embroidery. If I didn't say, 32 count, even weave. Okay. Next up is another, it was the month of Heaven and Earth Designs, it seems. So it's my other Heaven and Earth Designs, and that is by Jasmine, Becket, Griffith. It is the Faces of Faery 193. The companion piece to, I think it's 201. So kind of the black and white swan. I have completed the black swan and I am doing the white swan now. Here is what it looked like the last time that you saw it. And I worked on this for, I don't know, 1,314 stitches, 1,314 stitches. And here is where we're at. So I have one side done. I am kind of regretting not just kind of finishing off this, so then all these threads would be gone. Well, at least when I finish that section. Why can't I get this? But it is what it is. We are at where we're at. I think because I wanted to have both eyes in there to not be so creepy. But this is where we're at. I'm doing this on a 16 count Aida, 1/1 full cross. The other one is on a 32 count even weave. So they do end up the same size. They're 175 by 175. And that is all DMC, no substitutions. Next up in my list is my Mirabilia, and that is Persephone. I started this in October, worked on her for almost 2,500 stitches for this month. I'm doing this on a 32 count. If I haven't, I'll throw up what it looked like. This is a 32 count Lugana in the color Briar Rose by Fabrics by Stephanie. And here's where we're at. So I did a middle start and I'm trying to work my way up. So I'm basically, she's kind of decapitated right now. So her head is up here. I just wasn't able to work my way up there just based on how I had it in my Q-snap, and I didn't want to reposition it. I had enough to work on here for the couple of days I did. I had fallen off the Mirabilia train. Let's give you a close-up of what it is, because Mirabilias are big, they're daunting, there's beading. I don't like beading. But I had a couple of these patterns, and what I did was I charted them into Pattern Keeper. So I charted them into software so that I could put it in Pattern Keeper. And let me tell you people, it's a game changer when working on Mirabilia to be able to have it in a digital form. I wish they came digitally. They don't. It is what it is. To me, it was worth spending the time. And it took me about a week of working on and off to chart it in manually. It's obviously just for me. I don't, send this on to anyone. And have it in Pattern Keeper, have all the symbols show up as they do. You do need to manually put in like the colors and the names for like the Mill Hill beads and any Krynics or Karen water lilies, which is fine. All the DMC colors pull through with no issue, which is just fantastic. I'm able to work on them, I feel like, so much faster. You're not having to worry about, not that I'm there at the moment, but when I do, like from the page break, because they're so big, this is on 2 pages, you don't have to worry about, flipping back and forth between page 1, page 2. It's all there, easy to see. And because what I like to do is if I've got thread on my needle and I like to look at the pattern and see, is there somewhere where I can put this thread and not have to kind of like put it back on my Annie's Keepers or, throw it out if it's only a little bit. I like to look to see if there's somewhere else I can get stitches in so that I can just finish off that thread, which I think then also helps. So that's why you see like random spots down here, a random spot down here was, I had the needle on the thread and it was close enough to something that I could count to. to be able to finish it. But I am kind of completing as I go. The only empty spots in here are because these will be beads when it's time to bead, and I don't bead until the end. So when I bring this back out again, I'll continue to work up because I do like to work top down. And then I think also having a face on your mirabilia always makes it, you know, like you want to work on them. I am doing the skin 2/2. I've tried 1/1 skin and it's not for me. I don't like the effect enough for the amount of effort that it takes. Don't get me wrong, I think it looks great, but I also think the 2/2 skin looks great too. So I do it that way, which is fine. What else was I thinking with that one? I'm also waiting on doing the background, which is kind of all of this stuff. I'm going to maybe do that at the very end. I'm just feeling, even though I did a center start and I, you know, measured the fabric and did all of that stuff, I'm just feeling a little nervous on my placement. And because she's just a lot bigger than I remember being, you know, my other mirabilias that I have. So I'm going to do the background last. But I do have, this is all Karen Water lilies. I do have all the threads for them. So that is my mirabilia. 2,000, yes, almost 2,500 stitches, as I said. I'm worried this pile is going to come crashing down. Next up is my Quaker pumpkins by Hello from Liz Mathews. So I am doing this on a 40 count Verdal in the color something. Grogg, I think. Yes, in the color Grogg. Here's what it looks like the last time that you saw it. So I wrangle this fabric. Here is what it looks like now. So I have, oh, let me straighten this out. I completed this, the biggest pumpkin of the lot, and then kind of brought the top and bottom borders across. I am not yet doing the bottom borders. So it says All Hallows Eve. I think I'm gonna do the Georgia Girl Stitching conversion that just says, I think, harvest or gathering, something like that. That way I can just have it out for a little bit longer than Halloween if I ever do fully finish it. But loving this, doing this, just using the DMC. I didn't get the variegated flosses for it, just the DMC conversion, which I'm happy with. I don't love to do variegated if it's not a piece that's out all the time. I'm happy with the DMC. Okay, and then the final piece that I worked on for the month of November is You Belong to Me by Long Dog Samplers. I am stitching this on a surprise 40 count Verdal by BeStitchMe in the color Gold Rush, and I am using DMC 3842 as the color that I'm using. Here's what it looked like the last time you saw it. I did just over 1,000 stitches on this. It was just, I had a couple of days before heading to my Thanksgiving trip. And here's what it looks like. So again, with the, I used to get a poster board or something. I came across the top. I had started to kind of move down a bit more in the last rotation I did this, but I think I want to, because I don't have a huge amount of margin up here, I have to put it in the Q-snap a little weirder than I normally like. So if I can just get some of the top and get, you know, all the way to the end and come down, then it will just sit in the Q-snap a bit nicer. But this is a very, very large piece. And I'm loving it. So that is everything that I stitched in November. 9 pieces out of my, I think I'm up to 14 whips, 13 or 14 whips, which I'm very happy with. Oh, wrong one. And yeah, that's what I stitched on. Next up, ooh, let's not zip that. I have a little bit of haul. I did do a little bit of shopping, not Black Friday shopping on Cross Stitch, funnily enough, but just from things I've had delivered throughout the month. So let me go and grab those. Okay, first off, let's take a look at what I got from 123 Stitch. So I picked up a couple of patterns and some fabric. So the first one was part of the Fabulous House series by Cottage Garden Samplings. and that's Santa's house. I really like this one. None of the others really grabbed my attention, but this one did. So I will stitch that with, again, just the DMC. I won't get the, I think it's Classic Colorworks. I'll just stitch this in DMC, and I have already used the pattern software to chart this, so it will be in Pattern Keeper. Next up is from Primrose Cottage Stitches, and that is Welcome to the North Pole. I was watching Stitching Bunny and Teresa Little Stitcher. They are going to be stitching this, and I was like, I have to stitch that too. Again, this is actually going to be, it's got mostly fancy floss. But I am doing this mostly in the DMC. Some of the fancy floss I do have, and I have charted this into, so I can use it in Pattern Keeper, so I can see exactly how many stitches of each color there is. So I'm going to check my, like, Sassy Brass I have from when I did Halloween Quaker. So I just need to check how many stitches there are and kind of think, do I have enough to do that? And then I do also have from like some boxes and stuff that I've got, other fancy floss that I may see if I can sub in for, just to get it used. I mean, I'm not, as I just said before, I'm not a huge user of the fancy flosses, but if I have them, I want to use them. So I'll see if any of those work for this, and I will sub them in. But this is a long skinny piece, and I got the fabric for it. So this is a quarter yard. I did a fat quarter, 32 count desert opalescent from 123 Stitch. So I have that I'll stitch on here, because this has a lot of B5200, so a white opalescent wasn't going to work for that. And then to kind of go, I did get another little piece of that same fabric to be able to stitch this one by Soda Stitch. So I have the Halloween girl, and I'm going to have the little Christmas girl. Again, because that's a lot of white, I did not want to do it on a white opalescent. Okay, I was watching Megan from Georgia Girl Stitchings, not the update she just did, like the one before, and she was showing these butterfly patterns from Vlada X Stitch. And I liked them, but I'm not a massive butterfly person, but I had a look on her Etsy page and found these two bumblebee ones that I really want to do. These aren't the best photos, I apologize. I kind of took it from Etsy and then like blew it up to print it out so I could just have a copy. So I got this one and this one. So I figure like a day and night type that I could have out in the springtime. So that's those ones. And then lastly, I actually bought this one in October as far as patterns go and just forgot to show it last time. And that is Trick or Treat Town by Flossabilities. So if you watched, I think my last update, I had started Cabin in the Woods by Flossabilities and absolutely love it. This pattern, when Lauren released it on her last Flosstube, I think, well, that would make sense if it was her October update, yes. And she's got it all stitched up. Both that Cabin in the Woods and this one, both were just patterns that kind of took my breath away to see them stitched. I mean, they look great in a photo, which is, you know, unusual for cross stitch. Sometimes, most of the time, cross stitch looks good in a photo, but then absolutely amazing in person. This looks, I think, amazing in person, and then even more amazing, amazing in the photo, and then even more amazing to see a stitched version of it. So I love Halloween pieces. I have so many Halloween pieces, but that's okay. I think what I'm going to do for this one, I don't have a fabric in mind. I don't even have a start date in mind for this, but I do think when I do stitch it, I'm going to use CXC for the black, just because CXC has so much better coverage than DMC and is like a third of the price. And then my final purchase for the month, I took the plunge and I purchased a Silks for You silk. There is a long dog sampler I am considering doing. It is, I think it's called 1 Down 3 Across. I'll throw up a photo of the mock-up. It's like the Christmassy one. And I saw, I don't know who I saw stitching this. Holly, the cross stitch addict. She's using like regular, not variegated thread, but I kind of liked her color combo, and I've always wanted to try a Silks for You. So I picked up PR08, and here, look at that. I liked that it's not crazy variegated. I'm probably gonna mess this up so badly. Let's just leave it like that. So I won't have to worry too much about like where I'm placing my threads, but it's purple to blue to kind of like a silvery blue almost. And it feels amazing. It looks great. And it feels amazing. Now, silly me, kind of silly me. My dad is coming to visit me in November. No, November's done. My dad is coming to visit in February from Australia. Silks for You is in Australia. Had I been a more intelligent person, I would have had this shipped to my dad's house to save myself question mark amount of shipping, and then just had him bring it to me when he comes to visit in February, but I didn't do that. I, paid the $15 in shipping to have it shipped out here. So that's a lesson for me, but I will, if there's any other one I want to buy between now and when my dad comes to visit, I will just get delivered to his house, so I can save a little bit of money, because I have just dropped a lot of money with my Black Friday shopping. But I hope everyone enjoyed that. It was some sales better than others. I will admit, sales have gotten a little strange in Black Friday in recent years, I think. But that is a complete other topic. I will let everybody go. Thank you so much for watching. Oh, no, one more. I do apologize. One more set of plans. The final Whip Go calls for December are number 7 and number 20, which for me are a Quaker and Soda Stitch. So for Soda Stitch, I just have the one on the go to do 2,000 stitches. That is my ice cream store pop-up. So I will do that for 2,000 stitches this month. And then number 7 is a Quaker for 1,000 stitches. The 2 Quakers I have are the pumpkin one from Hello by Liz Mathews, or my Quaker flag from Vivsters. I think I'll do the Quaker flag just because I worked on the Quaker pumpkins last month, and just to change it up, get a little bit more progress into that one. I will work on Alternative Reality for 2,000 stitches as its monthly goal, and then just what I feel like for the rest of it, which is great. It'll be a lower stitching month in December because I am going back up to visit family. And if Thanksgiving was any indication, I did no stitching. I took a piece because I'm that person that if I don't take a piece, I will have all this time, whether it's just sitting at an airport or family going out and, me not wanting to go and have all this time. But I didn't, and so I didn't get any stitching on that. But if I don't bring something, that's just, Murphy's Law, isn't it? So I'll probably bring something up there small, just to have something in the event that I can stitch, but I'm not expecting to be able to stitch while I'm visiting, so, which is fine. It is what it is. But that now is the end of this episode. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you taking the time and making it to the end. If you have, if you could give me a like, that really helps. And if you want to see more content, continue to subscribe. Thanks so much, everybody. Bye.